Sometimes life throws a curveball when you least expect it. Just last summer, my friend Harold, 78, retired Navy man, always active, was out trimming his hedges like he did every Tuesday morning. Neighbors waved. The sun was shining. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But an hour later, his wife found him slumped in the chair, unable to speak. It was a stroke. No warning. No time to prepare. Just silence. That moment stuck with me. Because if someone like Harold, who walked daily, never smoked, and still fixed things around the house, could get hit like that, it made me wonder, why does this happen more often to older folks like us? So today, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Why strokes become a bigger risk as we get older. Not just the surface level stuff, but the real reasons inside the body. You deserve to know what's happening beneath the surface, and more importantly, what that means for your future health and independence. Understanding this might just help you, or someone you love, avoid a devastating surprise. This isn't about fear. It's about feeling equipped, informed, and strong in your own journey. And if that sounds like something you care about, go ahead and tap that like button, subscribe to Vibrant Elders, and feel free to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. We're all here to learn together. No judgment, no pressure. Now, let's take a closer look at what really happens inside our blood vessels as we age, and why that might be the starting point of the answer. When we talk about aging, people usually think about the outside, gray hair, wrinkles, maybe a stiff back in the morning. But some of the biggest changes happen quietly, inside us, where we can't see or feel them until something goes wrong. One of the most important places this happens is in our blood vessels. And for stroke risk, that's where the story really begins. Now picture this. Remember those old garden hoses we used back in the day? When they were brand new, they were flexible. You could twist them, roll them up, they'd bounce right back. But after sitting in the sun for years, they'd stiffen up, maybe even crack. That's exactly what happens to our arteries and veins as we age. They're not as springy and forgiving as they used to be. See, when we're young, our blood vessels expand and contract easily with each heartbeat. They absorb the pressure, move the blood along like smooth-flowing traffic. But with time, those vessel walls thicken and lose their flexibility. It's a slow process happening year by year. By the time we hit our 60s or 70s, many of those vessels are harder, narrower, and more brittle. That means they don't handle stress well, like changes in blood pressure or little clots floating around. And when that pressure builds too high, or something gets stuck, that's when strokes happen. Even if you've never had high blood pressure or cholesterol issues before, aging alone puts extra wear and tear on your vascular system. It's like the plumbing in an old house. One day, a pipe that's worked fine for decades suddenly bursts because it just couldn't hold on any longer. Not because the water changed, because the pipe aged. And for the brain, those pipes are lifelines. Every second, your brain needs a steady flow of oxygen and nutrients. If something interrupts that, like a clogged artery or a vessel that suddenly ruptures, the damage can be swift and serious. That's why strokes hit older adults so much harder. The infrastructure that delivers blood is simply more vulnerable. Now here's the thing. This isn't your fault. This isn't something you did wrong. It's just part of the natural aging process. But knowing how it works gives you a kind of superpower. Because if you understand that your blood vessels are more delicate now, you can treat them with care. You can avoid triggers, monitor your health more closely, and work with your doctor to spot warning signs early. So next time your doctor talks about keeping your blood pressure down or watching your cholesterol, remember, it's not just numbers on a chart. It's about protecting those aging vessels that have carried you through a lifetime. As we get older, we carry more than just memories and wisdom. We carry years, sometimes decades, of wear and tear inside our bodies. And while we may feel pretty good day to day, those silent conditions we've collected over time can quietly raise our risk for stroke without us even realizing it. Think about how many folks you know who live with high blood pressure. It's so common, it's almost expected after a certain age. But high blood pressure is like a slow, steady hammer tapping against your blood vessel walls. It doesn't hurt, you can't feel it, but every tap weakens them just a bit more. Over years, that pounding can leave those vessels thin and fragile, especially in the brain where the vessels are already tiny and delicate. And when they finally give out, that's when a hemorrhagic stroke happens, a bleed in the brain. Then there's diabetes. It affects how your body handles sugar, sure, but it also damages blood vessels, and nerves over time. Many people with diabetes have smaller arteries that get clogged more easily, which makes it harder for blood to reach the brain. And that means if a clot forms, or if blood sugar drops too low, your brain might not get what it needs in time. Don't forget atrial fibrillation, AFib, as the doctors call it. That's when your heart beats in an irregular rhythm, which can cause blood to pool and clot. Those clots can travel straight to your brain and block a vessel in a heartbeat. And while AFib is more common after 65, many people don't even know they have it until something serious happens. And the truth is, most of us don't have just one of these conditions. Many older adults are juggling a few. Maybe high cholesterol, maybe some kidney trouble, maybe arthritis that limits activity. It adds up. Your body has to work harder to stay balanced. It's like trying to steer a boat in choppy water. You can still get where you're going, but you have to be more careful with every move. But here's the hopeful part. Even if these conditions are already with you, they don't have to control your future. In fact, just being aware of them gives you a head start. Managing your medications, going to regular checkups, keeping up with exercise, even if it's just a daily walk, these things matter. They help reduce the load your body has to carry. And if you've ever thought, well, I've had high blood pressure for years and I've been fine, let this be your gentle reminder. Strokes don't wait for warnings. They build quietly, then strike suddenly. But with the right steps, you can stay one step ahead. Because living long is one thing. Living strong, that's the goal. You ever notice how things seem to slow down a bit as we age? We move a little more carefully, take our time getting up in the morning, maybe even let the coffee percolate a little longer. And that's okay. It's all part of aging with grace. But what's happening on the outside often mirrors what's happening inside. That includes how our blood flows. Our circulation system, heart, arteries, veins, it's the body's highway, and the heart is the engine. When we're young, that engine pumps strong and steady. Blood travels easily, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every corner of the body, especially the brain. But over time, just like any hardworking motor, the heart can lose a little strength. It might not pump quite as forcefully. The vessels that carry the blood might be a little narrower, a little stiffer. And just like a highway with too much traffic and not enough space, things can slow down. Now for the brain, that slowdown isn't just inconvenient, it can be dangerous. The brain is incredibly demanding. It needs a constant, even flow of oxygen-rich blood every second. No breaks, no delays. If circulation drops, whether from a weaker heartbeat, clogged arteries, or even dehydration, the brain feels it fast. That can lead to confusion, dizziness, fatigue, or in the worst case, a stroke. Picture this. You're watering your garden, and the hose isn't flowing like it used to. You check for kinks, but the problem isn't the hose. It's that the pressure isn't strong enough to push the water all the way. That's how slower circulation affects the brain. The blood just doesn't get there as quickly or as completely, especially when other conditions like heart disease or low blood volume are in play. And during a stroke, every second counts. If a clot blocks one of those already narrowed vessels, and the heart isn't pumping strong enough to clear it, the brain tissue beyond that point starts dying almost immediately. That's why strokes in older adults tend to be more severe, because the backup systems just aren't as quick anymore. It's not just about the heart, either. As we age, our body becomes more sensitive to small changes. Maybe your blood pressure drops when you stand up too fast. Maybe you feel lightheaded if you haven't eaten in a few hours. These are all signs that circulation is slowing or struggling, and the brain is paying close attention. But here's the empowering part. You can improve circulation. Simple things help: staying hydrated, moving regularly, eating heart-friendly foods. Even seated leg lifts or short walks around the house keep blood moving. And when you support your heart, you support your brain. Because even if time has slowed the rhythm a little, your heart still has a powerful song to play. We just need to help it stay in tune. There's something incredible about the human brain. It holds every laugh you've ever had, every face you've loved, every step you've taken through life. But like any well-used book, the pages of our minds can wear thin over time. And as we grow older, the brain becomes more delicate, more vulnerable to damage from things like strokes. Now, you might be thinking, I still feel sharp. I do crosswords. I remember my high school locker combination. And that's wonderful. Staying mentally active is one of the best things you can do. But even a healthy brain ages. It's just part of the design. See, unlike skin or muscle, the brain doesn't regenerate well. The neurons, the brain cells that handle memory, movement, speech, and more, don't grow back easily once they're damaged. So when a stroke cuts off blood flow to a part of the brain, even for just a few minutes, the impact can be lasting. And the older we get, the harder it is for the brain to reroute or recover from that kind of injury. It's a bit like an old crystal glass you've had for decades. Still beautiful, still strong in its own way, but drop it just once, and the crack could be deep. A younger brain might be more like plastic, flexible, able to bounce back. But the older brain? It needs more protection. And it's not just about how fragile it becomes, it's also about the reserve. As we age, we tend to lose some of that extra capacity, that built-in cushion. That's why a small stroke in an older person can cause more noticeable problems than it might in someone younger. Trouble speaking, walking, remembering. Things that were second nature become harder after even a minor brain injury. I once spoke to a woman named Marlene, 83 years old, who had a tiny stroke while folding laundry. It wasn't dramatic. She didn't collapse or lose consciousness, but her words got tangled. For weeks, she said it felt like her thoughts were trying to get through a maze. And that was from a stroke her doctors called small. But here's the thing, fragile doesn't mean broken. It means we need to care for it, protect it. Just like you wouldn't toss around a keepsake quilt your grandmother made. You don't take chances with a brain that's carried you this far. So if you're managing your blood pressure, watching your sugar, staying active, even just staying socially engaged, you're giving your brain the best chance to stay strong. And if you've had a few slips or forgetful moments, don't panic. That's normal too. Because the goal isn't to rewind the clock. The goal is to honor the years we've lived and do what we can to keep living well. And that starts with knowing what's going on inside this incredible organ and treating it with the care it's earned. When we're younger, our bodies bounce back from just about anything. A fall, a cold, even a surgery. Give it time and we're back on our feet. But as we age, that bounce back ability starts to fade. Recovery slows down. The body, once quick to repair itself, now needs more rest, more help, and a lot more patience. And that's especially true when it comes to recovering from a stroke. A stroke is like a natural disaster in the brain. It doesn't just damage one spot. It disrupts communication between different parts of the body. It can affect speech, movement, memory, balance, even swallowing. And for older adults, those effects tend to last longer and hit harder. Why? Because with age, the body's repair crew isn't as fast as it used to be. Healing after a stroke requires your brain to build new pathways, to find fresh routes around damaged areas. In younger people, the brain is like a city with plenty of detours and construction crews ready to pave a new road. In older folks, it's more like trying to rewire an old house. Doable, but slower, and it takes more effort. Then there's the physical side. Muscles get weaker with age, bones more fragile, balance less steady. So while a younger stroke survivor might be up and walking with a cane in a few weeks, someone in their 70s or 80s might spend months relearning how to lift a spoon or take a step safely. And it's not just the body. Emotionally, stroke recovery can be exhausting. It's frustrating to feel like your words don't come out right or your hand won't move the way you want it to. That frustration can turn into sadness or even depression. And if someone doesn't have strong support, family, friends, caregivers, they can feel very alone in that journey. I once met a gentleman named Frank, 76, who had a mild stroke. His mind was still sharp, but he struggled to get his right hand working again. I used to fix everything in this house, he told me, staring at a broken cabinet hinge he couldn't repair anymore. Now I can't even hold a screwdriver. But slowly, with therapy, encouragement, and a lot of stubbornness, Frank began to adapt. He didn't get everything back, but he got back enough to feel proud again. And that's the hope in all this. Recovery is still possible, just slower, more delicate. It demands patience, a good medical team, and a strong spirit. The earlier a stroke is caught, the better the chances. And the more we focus on prevention now, the more likely we are to avoid that hard road entirely. So while the aging body may take longer to heal, it also brings with it a lifetime of resilience. You've overcome things before. And if you face a challenge again, you're not powerless. You're prepared. So when we step back and look at the big picture, it all starts to make sense. Stroke risk doesn't rise with age because of one single thing. It's the whole system working differently, changing slowly over time. The blood vessels stiffen and narrow, the heart pumps a little less forcefully, chronic conditions sneak in and stack up, the brain grows more sensitive, and recovery, when needed, takes more effort. It's like many small rivers feeding into the same big stream, until suddenly, the current is too strong to ignore. But here's something important to hold on to. It's not about age itself being the enemy. Age is just the timeline. It's what happens during that time that makes the difference. Every birthday brings new experiences, memories, and yes, some changes in the body. But those changes don't have to catch us off guard. Not if we know what to expect. Think of your body like a car that's been on the road for decades. You've taken it through storms, long highways, back roads, traffic jams. You've gotten a lot of mileage. And just like with a car, wear and tear is natural. But with a little maintenance, a good mechanic, and a careful driver, that car can keep running beautifully for years to come. It's not about being brand new. It's about being cared for. And the same goes for your brain, your heart, your blood vessels. Understanding how they change helps you treat them with the respect they've earned. When you know the risks, you can take steps to lower them. When you understand why something is happening, you're less afraid and more empowered to act. I know, it can be overwhelming. Nobody wants to think about strokes. But the truth is, they're a reality for many older adults. And knowing the why behind the risk is the first step toward reducing it. Every walk you take, every meal you adjust, every time you check your blood pressure, that's you taking control. That's you saying, I may be older, but I'm not helpless. There's no shame in aging. In fact, there's deep honor in it. It means you've lived, you've loved, you've survived, and now, with just a little more knowledge and care, you can keep living the way you want, independently, with dignity, on your own terms. So if you take away anything from this conversation, let it be this. Your body might have changed with time, but your power hasn't gone anywhere. You still have the ability to protect yourself, to improve your health, and to keep writing your story. And that story, it deserves to keep going, strong, steady, and fully yours. If you've stayed with me this far, thank you. This kind of conversation isn't always easy. Talking about stroke risk, aging bodies, and recovery isn't exactly light dinner table talk. But it's important, because the more we understand what's happening inside us, the more we can do something about it. We've talked about how aging naturally changes our blood vessels, how years of chronic conditions can quietly build up, how circulation slows, and how the brain, this beautiful, complex part of us, becomes more vulnerable. It's a lot, I know, but knowing the why behind it all gives us a kind of strength. It turns fear into preparation. It turns worry into action. And here's the good news. You don't have to fix everything overnight. You don't need to run marathons or become a health guru. Small, steady steps, checking your blood pressure, moving your body a little each day, staying connected with your doctor and your loved ones, can make a real difference. You've made it this far, and that's no small thing. Don't let fear of the future take away your power in the present. If this video helped shine a light on something that matters to you, please click that like button, subscribe to Vibrant Elders, and share your thoughts down below. Your story might be the one that helps someone else take that first step toward better health. Remember, growing older isn't a weakness, it's a badge of honor. You've earned every year, every wrinkle, every moment. And with a little care, there's still so much more life ahead. Bright, joyful, and full of meaning. Stay safe, stay wise, and above all, stay vibrant.